Hey friends, it's Catherine here from Sacred Heart Alchemy and Divinely Inspired Feminine Leaders. So I am so grateful to have the time to be out in this park today. It's called Valley Falls Park. And I spent a lot of time here starting, 17 to 15 years ago. I kind of discovered this place when I was really in the deep about what was the right path for me in terms of my marriage at that time. And I walked here a lot with my dogs, did a lot of hiking, did a lot of crying, found some beautiful trees that I connected with and just sort of hugged on for a long time. And I actually have one very funny story. I don't know, let's see if I can do this. Hey, David Baird, going the other way. I don't know, one of the directions here. Oh, there it is. It's a path across the pond. I remember coming here one day. I was in a terrible place mentally and emotionally, and I was having what I now sort of laugh, but it's true. I was having one of my rants with God. Like, what the? Tell me what to do. I don't know what to do. Give me some direction here. Help me out. I was sort of all over the map, and I was sitting on the other side of the pond here, where there is a bit of a little waterfall where the pond drops down into a little stream. And I was really in a bad space, and I was angry with God. I was like, what the heck? And all of a sudden I was like, just give me a sign. Just show me what to do. And all of a sudden, bam, I got knocked on the head with this chestnut that felt like it weighed about 10 pounds. Honest to God, it hit my head so hard that there was nothing I could do but laugh. Once I got sort of over the pain, it was like, all right, I got the message. You're listening, right? So, there's a hawk just appeared over there. Hello, baby. Maybe with a message for me. But anyway, I'm so grateful to be back here today. And I'm grateful to myself because I made a decision a while back to grant myself more spaciousness in my life. I really, as some of you already know, sort of hit a wall about a year ago. Just with my own run with COVID, the exhaustion, the brain fog, continuing to work through it all, pushing through a lot of trying to do coaching launches that didn't go anywhere. And I just hit a wall, and I said, you know what? I need to step back. I need to take some time off. And one of the things I did was to clear my Mondays so that I had some spaciousness. I could start the week without feeling like I just had to get up and start going. And honestly, that small decision to rearrange my schedule has been one of the best things I've ever done for myself. I can't tell you how wonderful it feels to go to bed Sunday night or wake up Monday morning knowing that, for the most part, that, once in a while I might have something scheduled, but I don't intentionally put clients or, even a heavy workload, even if I'm, writing copy or, doing even something like this, I guess. But it's such a sense of spaciousness that I've offered myself. And so this morning, in my spaciousness, I do my usual meditation as soon as I wake up, and then I did some yoga, and then I actually did some other high intensity interval training that I'm doing. And after that, I took some time to do some reading. Oh, I left it on the other table. I moved because of the wind, and I didn't bring the book with me, but I'm deeply immersed, not just recently. I mean, it's been many years, but I feel like I've been doing such a deep dive in the last few months, again, into the divine feminine and the mysteries, and especially around Magdalene and the Order of the Magdalena. And I just came across a book called Magdalene Mysteries, The Path of the left hand path of the feminine Christ. And it is really blowing my mind and bringing so many things together. So I feel like I'm in this real period of integration. So I read that book, and then I was guided to pull some cards from this Sacred Rebel Oracle deck. And I wanted to share these with you today because I've had so many conversations, not just because this is going on for myself, but I've had so many conversations with friends, acquaintances, clients, women in different spiritual circles, or even, sort of business networking, coaching circles. And so many of us seem to be in living in the question, right? In between, no longer this, but not yet that, right? We've been going, pushing, trying to do things the way we thought we needed to do them, perhaps because of the masculine model, the go, get it done. And most of us are just feeling burnt out. It's not the kind of energy that most supports us in our creativity, in our intuition, in our deep wisdom, in our body wisdom, in our cycles, right? So I wanted to share this with you today because it's, no coincidence that the cards that came up. So the first one that I pulled is, what do you feel? And you see the moon, always representative of the divine feminine energy, the wisdom of the feminine, and then an apple and an orange, which really just, symbolize kind of this feeling into what feels right to me right now. And in this, I won't read you the whole, each card, right, has a reading, an explanation, and then some kind of practice at the end. And this card really addresses the fact that we have really relied on our thinking mind, right? Thinking things through, using logic, using, the part of our brain that wants to analyze and figure things out and remember the patterns from the past and do it like we've always done it. And this, get ahead at all costs and keep pushing through, right? With this need to get it right if we have a decision to make. And that creates such tremendous stress, not only in our mind, but also in our body. This idea that we have to get it right, that it's got to be perfect, that we can't stop or slow down because we might fall back or somebody else might get ahead. It's so toxic, honestly. That's the only word that really wants to come through about that. So this card is an invitation to ask, what do I feel right now? Right? To drop out of the thinking mind into the feeling heart and learn to rely on our internal wisdom, right? Whether you're in a male body or whether you're in a female body, we all have the inner wisdom, right? We all have an aspect of the divine feminine that's much more fluid, that's less concerned with timelines and get it done and getting it right than it is with following your intuition. And I love some of the language in this, the subterranean intelligence, right, of the heart. And if have followed me at all, or even seen my TED Talk, I teach the heart-brain coherence exercise and I talk about the intelligence of the heart brain, not the cognitive brain, but the heart brain. So this is an invitation to drop in more to the internal wisdom, that there's no need to make a perfect decision. There is no perfect decision. Every decision is a choice in that moment based on whatever you make that decision on. And if it needs to be redirected, you will be guided to that. If you need to make a course correction, trust that that will happen. And, it helps us stay out of that analysis paralysis of not doing anything because we get caught in the decision, right? And trust me, I am talking from experience. I am not pretending that I have this mastered, but it is something that I have been committed to dropping more and more deeply into. And, even as I say that, I know that there was a time when I heard people talking about that, I was like, what the hell do you even mean? Like, it was so foreign to me. I was so type A. I was so masculine in my energy. Maybe it's because I had 6 brothers and I really had to compete, or I had to, sort of be louder to be heard, or, whatever it happened to be. But I didn't even know what it meant to drop into my heart. But this spaciousness that I have given myself, not that this is the first thing I've done in this regard, but certainly giving yourself some time and some space to be able to put aside what the thinking mind is telling you needs to be done in this moment is a really great place to start. So if you have the opportunity to create some spaciousness in your life, even if it's 15 or 20 minutes of meditation before you start your day, or before, you go to sleep at night, or doing some tapping, or doing the heart-brain coherence, or just going for a walk, letting people know that you're just going to be, do it somewhere for 15 minutes or so, but, to just let you be. So, there's more about that card, but interestingly enough, after I pulled this card and I went to open the little guidebook, I realized there was another card stuck in the book. And, that says to me, okay, Spirit wanted me to see this message as well, because I honestly don't remember pulling this particular card or sticking it inside this book. But if it was there, I would have noticed it because I use this deck fairly regularly. But the interesting thing is, and of course this is how Spirit works, is that this card is beyond the mind, the heart beats. So are you sensing a theme here? Because I certainly am. Behind the mind, the heart beats. And again, without reading the whole really beautiful message, again, it's really talking about connecting with the heartbeat of the earth, connecting with the mother, connecting with what's sacred, connecting with sacred sound, the sound that reverberates this heartbeat of the universe, right? That we've been living so much in the way of the mind. And again, now we're being invited to live into the way of the heart. And there's a couple of lines from this that I really love. It says, the mind sees, plays, and strategizes. The heart feels, responds, senses, and intuits. So if you're ever wondering, well, what does that mean? The masculine and the feminine, the mind is more of the masculine energy. And again, even that can be sort of sorted out, teased out a little bit between the divine masculine and the egoic masculine. But just in terms of energy, the mind really, the masculine energy really is more structure, seeing, planning, strategizing, figuring out, right? The next steps. The feminine is more feeling into, right? What am I being called to do right now? Like, I was called to come here, and then I was called to do this Facebook Live, to sense and intuit. So just bringing this back to, and it talks about the mind and the heart sometimes being at war with each other. That the mind, that you're sort of, the mind, again, wants to sort of follow the rules, go along with what's familiar, with the rules that our parents laid down, our religion laid down, our culture laid down, all the things, right? So the mind will want to do that mostly around keeping us safe, right? It doesn't want us to make choices that are going to feel risky or like we might possibly be putting ourselves in some situation where we'll be rejected or put out of the tribe or betrayed or, have our needs or our emotions go unmet or worse, shamed, right? Or feel embarrassed. We don't want to feel any of that disharmony. So, but when I, spent so much time in this park, my heart knew what I needed. My heart knew what I needed. If it didn't, it wouldn't have been calling me in that direction. It 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 was just it was a process of growth over at that stage, about 26 years or 27 years of marriage, where there was nothing wrong, there was no abuse, there was no addiction, there was no cheating, there was no intentional hurting or harming. There was more a growing apart, a disconnection, a sense that we were good housemates and we were good parents and we did all the things. We got the kids' forms filled out and we got everybody to where they needed to be and we got dinner on the table every night and we had the house and all of that. And yet there was a growing disconnect between us. Emotionally, mentally, physically, sexually. We just were no longer resonating or vibrating with each other in a way that felt sustainable to me. So my heart knew that. There was no question there. It was my mind that took, about 10 years to come around. So what these cards are inviting us into is to allow yourself to drop into the heart. Let your mind lead. Trust your heart. Drop in. And then it says a truce will be declared. The mind will wave the flag of surrender. And the heart will lead with love, right? And intuition. And I love, again, this subterranean intelligence, right? Where it meanders. It's not a direct line. It's not a this. It's a fluid meandering through what the heart knows to be true. What the heart knows your soul came into this lifetime, into this incarnation to express. And when you're not expressing that, you get knocked in the head with a chipmunk, maybe a chipmunk too. I better watch what's coming out of the trees. Or, like years ago, I wrote a blog post, do you need a piano to be dropped on your head? What's it going to take to really begin to acknowledge that your mind may not always be the best driver of the vehicle of your life, that in fact putting your heart front and center and allowing the mind to then become the servant of the heart is really what we're being invited into. So all that being said, here I am in this park where I spent so many hours sobbing, crying my eyes out, fighting with God. Tell me what to do. I don't want to do this. I'm going to ruin my kids. I'm going to, oh my gosh. And I can appreciate the process. Not always easy. I was talking to someone yesterday and I said, there were years where that line between spiritual awakening, following my own inner guidance, and then feeling like I was having a complete mental and emotional breakdown, a pretty fine line for quite a few years. Never quite sure which side of that I was straddling at any particular moment. But now, it's been 15 years this month since I left my marriage, and I can sit here knowing and appreciating and recognizing the growth, the commitment, the opening, the expansion of who I am, and trusting that that is why I needed to step out. Even if I didn't really understand that then. I knew I was suffocating in some way. I knew I couldn't breathe, but I had no idea, what was going to happen. I had some ideas of what I wanted to have happen. Not that all of that has manifested in exactly that way. And yet I know that I am a different person, a different woman than the one who is sitting over there by the waterfall, screaming at God, yelling, "Why can't you hear me? You need to let me know," and then get whacked on the head with this chestnut. So Spirit's always listening. Maybe that's another message here. Spirit's always listening. Maybe we're the ones who need to tune in a little more deeply by getting out of our heads and into our bodies, into our hearts, deeper into our own wisdom and inner knowing, and then maybe we'll hear the messages a little more clearly. So I can appreciate my own struggle, my own journey, where I am now, and I'm looking at beautiful faces here and names, and know that I appreciate your struggles, your journey, your decision to live more from your heart than from your mind, and everything that it takes for you and from you each day to continue to make that commitment. And, I'm not there yet, but I know that I'm a whole lot closer to the truths, right, being declared, where my mind is finally going to be able to surrender and let go, because maybe all the fear, all the old programming, more of the fear, more of the old programming, more of the old patterning has been released and discharged, and the mind doesn't have to be so concerned with trying to protect me, trying to control everything, trying to, have plan A, B, and C, right? It's recognizing that even as it loosens its grip and allows the heart to come forward, that things are okay. Things are actually really good, even if they're not exactly the way I thought they might be yet, right? So that's my story today from Valley Falls. Thank you for coming along for the journey, for the story, for the journey of your life, and many blessings to you all. Lots of love. Bye now.